Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Good morning. Happy Monday. Today I'm going to be I'm trying to open a few screens here on my computer, so I make sure I'm answering the right question. I'm going to be answering a question that was sent in. We love your questions. Any question is a go. It doesn't have to be, about, DIY or furniture flipping, or I have questions that come in about organizing or how to shop or how to save money, or business questions, social media questions just about like Matt and I, flipping houses. So literally no question is off the table. So if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, or just a question you've thought about sending in, or please email me at lindsay@mycreativedays.com. You can always message me on Instagram at mycreativedays, on Facebook, and I will see them there as well. But coming on here and answering your questions, it's one of my favorite things to do for the podcast. So I'm going to read this question, and it kind of has, it's kind of got a story behind it. So I'm just going to, I know this story is not going to be for everybody else, but yet the tips that I'm going to share can be applied to everybody. So it says, I have been changing my home to farmhouse style and have used a lot of your tips. Love watching. So I have been going to my Goodwill every morning, found good things. In the past, I have had booths at antique shops for many years. My husband and I bought and flipped anything we could make money on by taking it to local auctions. For a while, I sold small items on eBay. Now my problem is I still look at items as if I'm going to resell them, but really have no good outlet now. Things are beginning to pile up. Any suggestions on how to train myself to pick up only what I'm going to use? So this is a great question. So she kind of has, she used to be a seller. She used to flip items, but I received many questions asking, okay, how do you know what to pick up? I just don't want it to look like my home is a hoarding situation, or I just have a bunch of stuff and then I don't know what to do with it. So my suggestions here can be applied to everybody. And this is if you're, thrifting for your decor, you're going to yard sales for your decor, you are, going to Restore to look for things. Even some of these things can be used, at your local TJ Maxx, your Home Goods. I think it's, these things, if you can keep these things in mind whenever you're buying something new, this kind of goes into my whole love of organizing and keeping a home, clean and organized and, working properly and functioning well for your family. So it's not chaotic. It's not stressful to be at home. It just, everything runs smoothly in the home. So this kind of goes with that as well. So I'm just going to kind of go through my list of things that I wrote down, and we'll go from there. So first of all, only buy I'm only kind of going to be talking about things that you would be using for your, like, decorating your home. Only buy things that will be set out right now. So that means, if you're thrifting for things and you find something there, you will be able to go home and you may clean it, dust it, whatever it needs, and put it out right when you get home. So, even if it needs a makeover, and we're going to get more into these, like, things that need makeovers here in the end here, but even if it needs a makeover, so maybe it's a small stool and you want to give it, you want to paint it green. For you to be able to pick that up and bring that home, you need to have it set out, with it, give yourself a couple days. Or if it's just something you're going to use as it is, get it home, clean it, and it needs to be set out that day. If you are in the thrift store and you're like, oh, I really love this, but I just don't know right now where I'd put it, don't buy it. Don't bring it home. Don't buy it. You have to, have the mindset that I'm bringing home this vase, this wood bowl, and I'm going to put it on the coffee table or on the mantle as soon as I get home. That has to be your mindset, so you're not buying things that you are never going to use. Okay, secondly, you must love it as soon as you see it. Don't love it because somebody else in the store wants to buy it. Don't buy it because somebody else in the store wants to buy it. If you are a thrifter like me, sometimes I have said this before, you know that there's a lady, following you around the store because you have some item in your cart. And so you're like, oh, well, now I got to buy it because it is that awesome. Somebody else wants it. Don't do that. Don't make that the reason why you're buying things and bringing things home that you're never going to use. And it should never be, someday I might use this. Someday I might bring this out and use this. If I ever entertain and we have s'mores in the backyard, I will definitely bring out this wood board. Like, don't ever buy anything that's got those kind of terms to it as well, because you'll be hoarding it and storing it, and it'll never see the light of day. So just make sure, and even if it needs a makeover, like you need to love it instantly. Like, there are those pieces when I'm thrifting, yard selling, whatever, where I'm like, oh my gosh, put that in my cart right now. Like, I know it needs to be, it needs a little elbow grease or it needs a paint job, but those items that click instantly, or one of a kind items, especially, or just like an antique or something that, number one, you've got a spot for it. You can put it out as soon as you get it home. And number two, it's like an instant, yes, I love that thing. So keep that in mind when you're shopping as well. This next rule is something that you should be doing in every aspect, in every room, in every clothing, shoes, food, whatever it is. The rule is, if one comes in, one has to go out. If you can push yourself, my rule is 1 in, 2 out. So that means you've found an item at the thrift store and you know where you're going to set it and you love it instantly, but now something's got to go. So if it's a vase, if it's a wood bowl, if it's whatever it is, it's, eucalyptus stems, it's it's a stool, whatever it is, if you're bringing it in, something else has to go out. And so if you can push yourself to do that, it just eliminates the clutter. It eliminates the hoarding, tendencies, or the storing things just to store things. It's going to make your home look cleaner and more organized, and not just like just a bunch of stuff all over the place. And okay, I shouldn't say like a number. I don't have really numbers here. The next thing to remember is that you aren't in the business to store things. I think a lot of people, you are thrifting, yard selling, shopping, whatever, wherever you are. I don't care where you are. You are trying to create and decorate your home, your sanctuary, the place where your family, lives, thrives. People come and visit. You are not in the business to just store things. So don't buy things to just store things. And even so, like if you bring something new in, don't then just store things that, that it took its place and then you just put the other stuff in storage. No, like when I say it's got to go, like you give that to somebody or you donate it, because you aren't in the business to store things. Obviously you're going to store, seasonal items, Christmas decor, that's not going to be out all year. But everything else, I don't understand like just having all the stuff just to have stuff. If it's never going to see the light of day, give it to somebody else that can enjoy it, that will love it, that'll give it a home, and it'll be out, all year round. Don't buy things just to store things. And if you already have too many of this thing, let's just say, like for me, vintage scales are a big, I love them. Vintage like books, I love them, but it was getting to the point where I had too many. We do not have a big home. And so for like the books, I narrowed it down. I can only pick up green vintage books, and they have to be at a certain price point or I have to leave them. Like I'm always giving myself kind of these rules so that my decor in our home doesn't become a cluttered mess. So if I can, narrow it down, then it's like a no-brainer when you're at the store. Okay, it is a green book. It's a vintage book. The pages aren't falling out and it's put together. And it's not under $1 or whatever your price point is. Okay, I cannot pick it up. So it marks off 2 of those or 2 of those boxes, but I have to have all 3 boxes marked in order for me to make the purchase. So try and do that. So if you already have too many, so like scales or wooden spoons or wooden bowls, whatever your thing is, all of these other things have to, go into your thought process when you're doing it. And if you already have too many, don't just pick up another one just because it is another vintage scale or it is another green book. If you don't have a spot to put it, don't pick it up. If you already have too many, don't pick it up. Collections are one thing, but I think a lot of us use the word, oh, I collect it, or we use the word collections to make an excuse for buying more. And a collection is great, but when you are collecting things and then just storing them away in a closet, in a bin somewhere, it's now not become a collection. It's now a hoarding situation, if you know what I mean. So if you don't see the things, if they don't see the light of day, they're in some box somewhere, it's not a collection. It's just a hoarding situation. So if you already have too many, don't buy any more. And if like a vintage scale comes about now, when I find it, again, it's got to be the right price point. And sometimes I make those price points like a little bit like there's no way you're going to ever find one. You know what I mean? So then it's like really tough, right? But then when I do, then it's like, okay, it hit all the boxes. And then I'm always going to get rid of one if I bring one in. So, try to narrow those things down. If you've already got too many, then make those, you know, like I did with the books, make those, just make it like almost impossible that you're going to find that item and it be the perfect fit to warrant the purchase, if that makes sense. Okay. So if like for this person, you used to sell, and so I totally get that, but you don't anymore now. Now you don't have that pressure. Like, can I sell this? What am I going to have to do to flip it? You don't have that pressure. Now you can this is for fun. This is for you. So enjoy that. Enjoy that. And in that enjoyment, be picky and real picky. You know, if you're at a thrift store or you're at an estate, wherever you are, wherever you're shopping, make sure it's the perfect size, the perfect condition, like, you know, especially for the items like I'm looking for, vintage things and older things. There's a lot of, what do I want to say? Gray area where, you know, a lot of the times you're not going to find things in perfect condition. And so, you know, there's been many times where it's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting to find one of these and I have found it. It's a great price, but yet it's kind of fallen apart and I don't think I can even get it back together, you know? And so it's like, you have to let those things go. You have to be okay to let things go and walk away. Because the problem where we get is it's like with this question coming in. So now you have a home full of things that you're not happy. It's like becoming a hoarding situation. You've got too much stuff. Things are piling up. Like you can't enjoy the things you really love. And it's getting, you know, it's stressful. It's getting, you know, you're feeling a little bit closed in your home. And that's not what you want for your home. And so if we can do some of these things whenever we're thinking we're going to buy something new or we're going to go out hunting, definitely it helps. It really, really, really helps. Sticking to a budget, a price point is a huge one. And people often think, oh, when you're yard sailing or thrifting, like you don't even need a budget. Everything's so cheap. That is so not true. And that is so not true in the world we're living today. I have heard more times than not that, and it's in our thrift stores as well, prices are way high right now, way high. And so if you just stick to a price point, a budget, every time you go out, that helps take the guesswork out of it too. Like, yep, that's not something I'm going to pay for a dresser or a whatever it is. You know, right away, you know that's not something you're going to buy. So definitely always have a budget or a price point in mind when you head out. So here's one that we're going to have to be real honest about. Maybe you don't. So I have always preached and said, you know, the way to decorate your home on a dime is you shop thrift stores and, you know, thrift stores, yard sales, estate sales, you know, restore, those kinds of places. And you look for items that you can make over. Maybe it's a painting. Maybe you take them apart and reconfigure them, whatever it is, to get the exact look you want for a lot less, right? I will preach that forever. Like that is my motto. But yet here's where we have to get honest with ourselves. Are you somebody that already has tons of projects, little projects to big projects? It needs a swipe of green paint on the front drawer is all it needs. Like a small project like that. Maybe it's even, I just need to put a photo hanger, like the claw teeth behind this picture so I can hang it up. I mean, it could be that small, but yet it's still sitting in the project pile in the garage because it needs a little something. All the way to, you've got dressers that need full-on makeovers or whatever it is. So are you somebody that has those projects piled up in the garage, wherever you keep them right now? If you do, your rule should be, I cannot bring home anything that needs, any kind of work. And I mean, putting a picture hanger or whatever on the back to flipping a piece of furniture until I have every project in my project pile completed. Right there, you're going to knock out a lot of things that you shouldn't be bringing home. Just because, number one, why are the projects piling up? Why aren't we getting to them? Let's stop going to get more projects and actually finish the ones that we already have. If you're flipping those items or bringing them into your home, if you're flipping them, let's get them done and make the money. If you're bringing them into your home, let's stop storing projects and let's actually get them done and bring them into our home. So if you have too many projects, you can't buy anything new until you finish everything in there. And maybe you need to be honest and we need to take it a step further and you need to even say, maybe I'm just not somebody that should be bringing home anything that needs work. Maybe I'm somebody that has to find things that are completely done. I like them as they are. And those are the only items I can bring home. Because even if it needs, a can of spray paint, a nail to fix something that's kind of falling apart, maybe even those projects, they're just too much. Like, you're just not going to get them done, which is okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think we think there's something wrong with that. And oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? No. Once you become honest with who you are and how you function and how you, what's best for you, your life will change completely. So this is a huge thing that I talk about in my organization challenge. And your honesty is your number one thing when it comes to stuff like this, because if you aren't honest with yourself and who you are, how you live, how you clean, how you organize, how you do projects, whatever we're talking about, then you can't make headway. If you're not honest, you are not going to make headway. So definitely be honest. If you are somebody that just never gets to those projects, big or small, do not pick them up anymore. And push yourself a little bit, give yourself an incentive. If I finish all these projects that I have piled up, I get to go, if it's shopping again for your home, fine. Or I get to go buy new curtains for the living room. Or I get to, whatever, take a friend out to lunch, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, push yourself to get those things done. And then after you get them done, sit with it for a while. Sit with it, with you, your home, your garage, you, the way you feel. Sit with how it is not having any projects weighing in the back of your head. Even if you're not thinking about them 24 hours a day, those projects that aren't getting done are still taking up mental space in your head, in your body. It's stressful. It's not done. It's just weight that you're carrying around that you don't even know about, but yet you kind of do. And then just sit with it and be like, okay, this is kind of unbelievably amazing that I have no projects sitting in the wings anywhere. Like, everything's done. My house is decorated. Those pieces came in. I got them fixed or painted, whatever it is. They're all in their place. And literally now, as I'm looking around my home, I maybe just need a vase here, some floral stems here, and, Scrabble tiles in this bowl on the coffee table. Like, I love Scrabble tiles. If you've been following me on Instagram or Facebook, you know that I love old Scrabble tiles. I put them in bowls, vases, all the things. So anyway, that's where that came from. But you know what I mean? You can really sit back and assess, okay, everything's done. My house is kind of coming together and I only need a few items. Take a list with you every time. Take a list if that helps you. Walk around your house before you head out thrifting or going to estate sales and say, okay, this room really needs, like I said, a vase. It needs a little bit of, floral stems in a vase. That's all it needs. That's all this room needs. Put it on your list. In your kitchen, maybe you need a canister for some wood utensils you have that you would like to maybe bring out and kind of set on the counter. Okay, so I need a canister to hold this many wood utensils That's all I need here in the kitchen. Put it on your list. Go around your house and really look at the spaces that you have. So then you're not like a kid in a candy store, in a thrift store, or at a yard sale. Like, oh my gosh, look at all the pretty things. Look at all the amazing things. I want all the things. You can just narrow it down to the things that you have on your list. Take measurements. If there's certain things, you need a dresser and it'll only fit this, or, you need a tray that'll fit on the coffee table, but it can only be this wide, whatever it is. Bring measurements and a list with you, and then stay focused. Keep your blinders on when you're in those stores at a yard sale, and only look for those things. That will definitely help you as well. Okay. I always have to flip over my piece of paper here and make sure I got everything. Yes. Everything off my list. So I hope those help. Those are things that I have done over and over and over again. And now it's just like second nature. Like, this is just the way I shop, no matter if I'm at a thrift store, at a Home Goods, at a TJ Maxx. I am not picking up things just to pick up things or because they're pretty and shiny. Like, they have to have a purpose. I have to have a space. If there is something pretty and shiny from that I bring home, something pretty and shiny that I picked up, a while ago, is going to have to go. So I really, I have to love it. I have a budget for everything. I narrow down what I have to, my check boxes of what it has to be for me to even think about buying it. So all of these things are super, super helpful to just help you kind of narrow things down, stay on task, and will help you so you're not just bringing home a bunch of things that you don't really need and won't really love inside your home. So if this was helpful, I would love to hear. Share this podcast with somebody that you may know that deals with these kind of questions or issues. Share it with somebody that you think might benefit from this podcast and these tips. I would love that so much. And if it was helpful to you, let me know. Share it on Instagram. Just share a screenshot of the podcast and tag me so I can see it. Send me an email at lindsay@mycreativedays.com. Message me on Facebook, whatever's easiest for you. It's always so good to know that these are helpful. If there's something else that came up or you want to ask after you heard this podcast, send it in, because like I said, these are so fun to answer and kind of go over in the podcast. So until next week, stay focused when you're thrifting this week, and I will see you guys on Monday. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so, so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.